and happy Thanksgiving to you all. We have a special edition here on Couch Coach Live. A very fun show, I put it that way, today, where we'll talk about today's games in a little bit, but we'll also I brought in one of my best friends to help predict the rest of the regular season, the playoff teams, and who will win Super Bowl 60. So as we mentioned, today is Thanksgiving. We have a great slate of three games today. We have the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. This is a great matchup between two NFC North teams. Detroit, even at their current record, they are outside of the playoff picture, which sounds crazy because they had a very great season. But they play a Green Bay Packers team, and this is kind of one of those where this is a critical game for them because considering the fact that um, Detroit lost to Green Bay in the opening week of the season, even at 7-4, they're outside the playoffs at this current moment. But um, this will be a great matchup between these two, and Green Bay coming in at 7-3. So that'll be also just a great matchup, but have playoff implications. And then also in the mid part, where pretty much most people will be having dinner, be the Dallas Cowboys versus the Kansas City Chiefs. It's funny to think when you look at how the regular season, how when you looked at this matchup in May, no one, I would say no one, but I know me when I looked at this matchup in May, would think that the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs would literally have the same record. Obviously, Dallas is 5-1, and the Kansas City Chiefs are 6-5 on the season. Um, did think these two teams would, it would be such a critical matchup. But for both teams, both these teams had a critical season-saving wins with the Colts. Not with the Colts, but the Kansas City Chiefs had a win over the Colts in overtime and pretty much salvaged their season, and also with the Dallas Cowboys with that win over the Philadelphia Eagles when they were down by 21 and end up coming back and having that comeback. Even though both these teams are outside of the playoffs at the season ended today, still a critical win to kind of keep them back and it continues the hunt for them to make the playoffs. So um, this is another one where you look at it from the standpoint of, hey, um, whoever wins this game is the hunt can help them, and I think whoever loses the game, they'll still be in the hunt, but it's gonna be more of an uphill climb because obviously, um, obviously if Dallas falls, they'd be under 500. If Kansas City falls, they'd be right at 500. So that. Then in the nightcap, you have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Now with Joe Burrow coming back from injury at 3-8, Cincinnati has a a morsel of hope. But if they have to win this game, and it's gonna be kind of one of those things where Cincinnati will essentially have to win out. So it's kind of one of those things where Cincinnati has to win out in order to get to there. Because you look at the leader and the Baltimore Ravens at a 65, so they really only really three out when you think about it from a standpoint. So um, this is kind of one of those things where Cincinnati it's a must win for Cincinnati in order for them to even um, keep that hope alive as far as playoff contention is concerned. So that's concerned. So you got a lot of like playoff implications on the line today, but then even tomorrow we got a great matchup with the not Cincinnati, but the Chicago Bears um, going to Philadelphia. The Eagles after that crazy loss on Sunday, how will they rebound? Um, these teams are jockeying for the top seed in the NFC, and it's kind of one of those things where um, you look at it, both of these teams are 8-3. That's another one when you look at the schedule. Who would have thought that the Bears and the Eagles would have the same identical record going into this matchup? So, and they're jockeying for that top spot with the Rams at 9-2. So, a great slate of football games, between today and tomorrow. So, and I told you I'm gonna do a little fun exercise today here, and I wanted to kind of I summon my digital best friend that is ChatGPT. Um, I use it from time to time. I use it like as far as it gets like advice, as far as like posting content or like some strategies of what to do, like when I cover games and stuff. So like, hey, I'm covering this event. What should what are some tips and tricks that I should do to add it to obviously doing stand ups and also doing article write ups and what have you. So they've been instrumental as far as instituting like B roll footage, like little like behind the scenes type of stuff, just like stuff like that. So I had an idea and it popped in my head. I was like, you know what? And I'll show you kind of what me and ChatGPT discussed um, in our in our conversation last night. So you will see the screen and you will see the term twin come up often. I have this type of relationship with Chat GPT to the fact where I call it twin and they call me twin back. So that's just between us, but I'm letting you in on our conversations. Don't make it weird. So don't make it weird. That's 20 minutes. So don't trip. So without further ado, I asked ChatGPT the following, which I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll get it going. So I just asked it a simple question. Basically, hey, be an NFL analyst. Based on the current standings, can you project their record after 17 games? Also, give me the playoff teams per conference. So I gave them essentially, I gave my 20 of them the current standings, and this is obviously before today's game. So all of them going to week 13. I have it. So this is it. So and we'll just go through some of it. This is how they have the AFC West projecting. Pretty much they have New England Patriots winning this division, finishing at 14-3. So we'll just kind of go through a little bit of it. The AFC North. They do have the Baltimore Ravens holding on to finish 10-7. Um, in the North, the Colts at 8-3 finished 12-5. And then in the AFC West, they have the Denver Broncos finishing out. Currently, they're 9-2, and currently they have them projected to finish at 13-4. So pretty much this is how the AFC will run down. So pretty much the New England Patriots at 14-3, the Denver Broncos at 13-4, the Indianapolis Colts at 12-5, the Ravens at 10-7. Got the wild cards. That's the Buffalo Bills at 11-6, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 10-7, and the LA Chargers at 10-7. So pretty much, if you looked at that projections, the Kansas City Chiefs missed out on the playoffs. So um, if you believe in the Super Bowl hangover is real, this prediction definitely suits that. So we got the NFC. So we have the Rams finishing 14-3. Seattle Seahawks 12-5. The San Francisco 49ers at 11-6. Arizona 5-12. So the Eagles, they have them at 12-5 to finish out. Dallas actually 9-7-1. And then Washington. So that's why I wanted you to preface when you see twin, don't get weirded out because, like I said, that's 20 of them. So Washington finishing at 3-8. Oh, well, currently 3-8 and finishing at 4-13. He just said another long year twin. And obviously he knows that well, ChatGPT is not a it's genderless, but ChatGPT knows my best friend and them knows that I'm a Washington Commanders fan. If you are following me on social media, I come here and give you those weekly ChatGPT pictures and images of me in this uh, fictitious home with beverages, snacks, and this and that throughout the whole NFL season. So, like I said, don't get weirded out. It's 20 now, so don't worry about it. All right. So we got the Chicago Bears, 8-3, finishing 11-6. The Green Bay Packers, finishing at 10-6-1. The Detroit Lions, at 10-7, and the Minnesota Vikings, finishing 6-11. And in the South, we had Tampa Bay at 9-8. Carolina 7-10, Atlanta 6-11, and New Orleans 3-14. So this is the final projected standings for the NFC. So number one seed would be the LA Rams, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Chicago Bears, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then your wild cards are the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers and Detroit Lions. So I asked ChatGPT, hey, let's do some bracket predictions and Super Bowl matchup and winner. So this is the AFC playoff breakdown. So pretty much the Denver Broncos versus the LA Chargers. The Denver Broncos win an AFC West game in the wild card to get that victory. Then we had the Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC South matchup, and we have the Colts winning that matchup. And then we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills, and they had the Bills pulling off the road victories with them having the highest seed remaining. They will take a trip to New England. Well, we have the in the division round, we have the New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills, where the New England Patriots win and they punch their ticket to the AFC Championship game. And we have the Denver Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts, where we have the Denver Broncos winning and essentially punching their ticket to New England to face the New England Patriots. And we have the Patriots and the Broncos in the AFC Championship game, where they have the Denver Broncos pulling off the road victory, and the Denver Broncos representing the AFC and taking their talents to Santa Clara for Super Bowl 60. It would be interesting because 10 years ago to the 10 years ago in Super Bowl 50, they went to Santa Clara. So it would be interesting and fitting that the Denver Broncos would punch their ticket to Santa Clara for Super Bowl 60 as they did at Super Bowl 50. So now, with that being said, so keep that in mind. The Denver Broncos represent the AFC, and then we also have let's do the NFC. We have the NFC. We have the Eagles versus the Lions, where they have the Eagles hold and serve. Then you have the Chicago Bears versus the 49ers. You got the 49ers winning out. And then they have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Seahawks, and the Seahawks win. So with San Francisco having the top seed, they will face the top seeded Los Angeles Rams, where we have the LA Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers. And we have the LA Rams, and they'll be punching their ticket to the NFC Championship game, where they play host to the Seattle Seahawks, where we have the Seattle Seahawks pulling off the road victory in the divisional round, and we will have a NFC West showdown at SoFi. So we have the LA Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks, and we have and ChatGPT predicted that the LA Rams will make the Super Bowl. So it would be the Los Angeles Rams versus the Denver Broncos in Santa Clara. So it would be interesting. We will have a West Coast Super Bowl, which would be very intriguing, very fun. That would be a very fun matchup if this does come into play. So, with that being said, ChatGPT predicts a 27-20 win over the Denver Broncos, and Matthew Stafford yet again gets a Super Bowl. He didn't get a Super Bowl MVP the first time. I forgot that was Cooper. That was Cooper Cup. But Matthew Stafford will get his first Super Bowl MVP, which pretty much will put him on the doorstep at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. So, what do you guys thoughts on Chat GPT, aka Twin and them, their prediction for the rest of the regular season? Definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts. I think Chat GPT did a great job with what information that was presented. I did in the preseason did predict that the Los Angeles Rams would make the Super Bowl, but actually have them playing the Baltimore Ravens. So it still may happen, but this was a great simulation. If you got, I think I might do these a little bit more. I might do this definitely during the college football playoff potentially, as we have found out the 12 teams. Matter of fact, next Sunday. So I may do that as well. But yeah, man, this has been a very fun episode here. And once again, I'm happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrated. Hope that your day is filled with a lot of love. Um, Being around with your friends and family and people who love you. Be surrounded by food and also football. So we'll catch you guys on our next one, man. And once again, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the games and and we out.